Tuesday, January 15, 2026's CPI report is out, and here's the truth. Inflation isn't roaring, but it's not dead either. It's more like a zombie in a suit, slow, stubborn, and still eating your paycheck. The official read: CPI rose 0.3% in December, and is up 2.7% over the last year. And before we start arguing feelings, scripture reminds us that a false balance is abomination. Amandri inbur, sonden binperder dippober on ban, so. Brooke Rollins, Secretary of Agriculture, made the remarks during an interview with News Nation in response to a question about how average Americans will afford adapting their meals to the White House's updated food pyramid, which emphasizes red meat, full-fat dairy, and saturated fats, while discouraging ultra-processed foods and sugar. The rising cost of groceries has been a major issue for Americans in recent years. Proverbs 11.1 translates to measure it honestly, so let's measure it honestly. CPI is a giant basket of stuff households buy: housing, food, energy, services, tracked month to month. It's not perfect, but it's a big deal because it shapes the interest rate conversation and the cost of living story people feel day to day. And the Bible gives the grown-up mindset for money. Sit down first and count the cost.
How does cost play into this? And I guess the reason I ask is that I'm thinking back to the report that just came out, and although inflation overall is 2.7%, we did see grocery prices, especially month to month, jumping up. And so it still costs people a lot to go to the grocery store. When is that going to change? Luke 14:28, so we're going line by line.
Here are the two numbers everyone needs. Headline CPI, plus 0.3% in December, plus 2.7% year over year. Core CPI, excluding food and energy, plus 0.2% in December, plus 2.6% year over year. Core matters because it reflects the sticky stuff, especially housing and services, where price increases don't unwind fast. So if you're wondering why it still feels expensive, core inflation is usually holding the flashlight.
Rollins continued, I think the question you're asking, and it's a really important one, is while we're asking Americans to reconsider what they're eating, are we actually asking Americans, especially those who are living on the margins, are we asking them to spend more on their diet? And the answer to that is no, she continued. We've run over 1,000 simulations. It can cost around $3 a meal for a piece of chicken, a piece of broccoli, a corn tortilla, and one other thing. So there is a way to do this that actually will save the average American consumer money.
Shelter up 0.4. Food up 0.7. Energy up 0.3. Three categories did most of the talking in December. May. Shelter up 0.4%, the biggest contributor to the monthly increase. Food up 0.7%, and food at home up 0.7% too. Energy up 0.3%. Inside energy, gasoline fell 0.5%, but natural gas jumped 4.4%, and electricity dipped 0.1%. So if you're paying less at the pump but more to heat the house, congrats, you've met December CPI. The U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins is facing ridicule after claiming Americans can save money and have their meals align with new Department of Health and Human Services dietary guidelines by simply eating a piece of chicken, a piece of broccoli, a corn tortilla, and one other thing.
One representative even called the remarks a slap in the face to struggling working families.
Rent, groceries, utilities, travel. Housing first, because housing always goes first. BLS says owners' equivalent rent rose 0.3% in December. That's why the inflation is cooling headline can feel like it missed your mailbox. Food. Next, over the last year, food is up 3.1% overall, and eating out is still the sneaky budget leak. Food away from home is up 4.1% year over year. Used cars and trucks fell 1.1% in December. Airline fares rose 5.2% in December. Recreation rose 1.2%. BLS says it's the largest one-month increase ever reported for that index. And here's the yearly backdrop. Shelter rose 3.2%, energy rose 2.3%, food was up 3.1%. That's not catastrophe, but it's not comfort either. Rollins also claimed that food prices were decreasing, saying the cost of groceries are actually coming down, before adding, there was a little blip at the end of the year because it's the holiday and a lot of people are spending a lot more money at the grocery store. But the actual overall numbers are coming down, from eggs to chicken to pork to milk to broccoli. Data from the Consumer Price Index, as referenced by McShane, showed that food prices kept rising in December, increasing by 0.7%, the biggest month-to-month jump since October 2022. Prices for produce rose 0.5%, coffee increased by 1.9%, and beef went up 1% over the month and 16.4% compared with a year earlier. Fed pause, cuts later. So, what did markets hear? Reuters take, the report supports the idea the Fed can pause near term with the fight shifting to when cuts come later. And you've also got public pressure building around that debate, because CPI day always turns into rate cut Christmas. Here's the tell it like it is. CPI doesn't scream slam rates down tomorrow, but it also doesn't scream hike again. It says inflation is steady, and the biggest pain points, housing and food, are still not fully tamed. Micah 6:8 is the posture here. Do what's right, be honest, stay humble. That goes for policy and for our own budgets. Do this next. Here's the forward-looking move. Don't just watch the headline CPI. Watch shelter and food month after month. That's where household stress lives. 3 practical steps, old school, proven, and still undefeated. Run a needs-first budget for 30 days. Housing, food, utilities. Everything else auditions. Audit the food away from home line, because it's up 4.1% over the year and it hits weekly. Lock in a plan, not a vibe. Automate bills. Build a small buffer, and stop letting random price spikes run your emotions. So, is Trump claiming the economy finally? Matthew 6:33 isn't a math formula, but it is a priorities formula. The Prestamer in Dabenstein, Bersal. The bottom line is 2.7% is a headline, and 2.6% is the core. December cooled a little in the sticky places, but food popped and shelter stayed heavy. Proverbs 11:1, KJV. So here's your move. Don't argue vibes, track your categories. Watch shelter, watch food, and keep your budget honest. Drop your biggest price shock in the comments and I'll cover the top 3 in the next video. Like, subscribe, and remember, truth beats spin, every time. Drop a comment on what hurts most right now: rent, groceries, utilities, or insurance. And remember Luke 14:28, count the cost, then build the plan.